What is the most embarrassing way your body has betrayed you? I danced classical ballet for years when I was younger. One day when I was 12 we were doing a stretch where we were lying on our backs with our butts scooted to the wall and our legs stretched towards to the ceiling. We would let our legs fall into the splits letting gravity to assist us. So we were lying there, listening to quiet piano music, my legs wide open and the girl next to me was whispering jokes and making me giggle. I could feel the onslaught of explosive gas happening but being young and stupid I was afraid to close my legs because I thought I'd get in trouble. So I ripped the loudest, most terrifying fart to ever exist. I think I blew a hole in my little pink leotard, I swear to God. The room was a huge wooden studio so that fart from heck was bouncing off the walls for like 15 minutes. All the little girls started screaming. I was screaming. The teacher was probably screaming. Still gives me nightmares. I have IBS and get really insanely distended stomach full of gas when I eat certain foods. It looks like there's a basketball under my skin and it's all gas. My boyfriend of a year or so knew about my IBS but hadn't really experienced the worst of it. One day we were hanging out at my apartment and I had my big gas belly. He knew what that meant so I excused myself to my room to try and fart some of it out. He decides to come in to show me something on his phone as I'm laying on my bed with my knees up, trying to coax the gas out. He starts laughing at the sight. I start laughing. I feel an epic release of gas coming and I try to tell him to leave ASAP but I'm also laughing. Between the laughter and the position I was in, I couldn't hold it back. I let out the loudest, longest fart in history. At first he laughed I surprise and then as it kept going on and on, his face changed from laughter to surprise to shock mixed with what looked like a twinge of sadness. Watching him go through so many emotions right on his face just made me laugh harder, so the fart just kept going. After what feels like eternity he steps out of the room, hands over his mouth. He comes back in and the fart is finishing off with a final toot toot toot. He is speechless. The first thing he says is I feel like I lived 80 years, died, and came back to life again before that fart ended. I just don't understand how it was so long and steady, and then it got all Louis Armstrong at the end. And that's how we started calling certain trumpety farts Louis. Also we moved in together a few months later so my butt performance didn't deter him too much. I am literally crying at this story. 5th grade, math test, felt a sneeze coming and tried to hold the sneeze in to maintain the mandated silence. Ended up farting on a wooden seat chair that resonated the sound perfectly. So basically fart. Boner at the psychiatrist. It did pretty well but it was still towards the end of the session. That was just a dream. Tony Soprano. I was sitting on the floor in my cheap wooden condo and let out a huge fart. Dog in the condo below me started barking and I could hear the cute girl who lived there and her visiting parents laughing. Should have said excuse me loud enough for them to hear. I stood up from sitting at work and screamed in pain because I got a cramp behind my nutsack. I don't know how to explain it but that's where I felt the pain. My coworkers were dying of laughter when I explained what my scream was. Sometimes after the end of a full pee I get this sharp feeling but it goes away pretty quickly. WebMD say I have minus 935 years to live. In 6th grade I got a boner for no reason and then was asked to go hand something to the teacher. When I stood up this girl that sat near me stared right at my crotch with wide eyes. I'm just thankful she didn't tell anyone or I might not have heard the end of it. Oh, her reaction. 2 hours train ride. I felt the air coming slowly but I held it back until the end finally. The next stop was mine. So I stood up and walked to the door, still holding back that, now massive, amount of air in my colon just when the doors were about to open. Some child stumbled into me from behind. It surprised me so much that I, just for a moment, didn't hold and the result was the loudest, most disgusting fart you could ever imagine. I never left the train station faster in my entire life. OP is resting with one hand on a wall breathing heavily from running for 20 minutes. He looks up and sees a TV in a pub with closed captioning. Concentrated fart in a local train proves deadly. One child has been killed, any men are more hospitalized. Oh crap. Keeps running. Last summer I tripped over something while walking on the sidewalk. Happens every now and then, no big deal. It normally just looks like a funny skip or something. Except this time I kind of leaped forward into the air. and somehow the normal response message to put my hands before me didn't reach its destination, so I just dropped into the ground like a human sack of potatoes. It was about equally painful and embarrassing. Still don't know how the frick that happened. Brain blue screens. One time I was really sick, so I went to throw up in the toilet, and as I started throwing up I simultaneously started pooping myself as well. Once you start throwing up you can't exactly stop until you're done, so I just kept throwing up while pooping for the smelliest, most uncomfortable 5 minutes or so of my life. Ever since I stopped being able to throw up like a normal person, I'm always scared I'll crap myself, so I sit on the toilet bending over a bucket, even though it's harder to throw up that way. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this trip down memory lane as much as I did. In a meeting with my managers, they're complaining about X, Y, and Z that I haven't achieved. I'm not upset about the criticisms. If anything, I'm angry I have to hear them. But for some bizarre reason my eyes started watering. We'd have these meetings weekly, and every time my eyes would water and tears would pour. It started just happening when I wasn't even angry. And even in normal angry situations I'd never tear up. Just in those meetings. OMG, I have the same thing. Whenever I'm confronted with something by a superior, I start crying for some reason. It sucks because I don't want them to think I'm upset about minor things, because I'm not. When I was in high school, by starting a period without any of the usual symptoms and leaving a bloody puddle on the chair and huge stain on my jeans. This happened to me, except I knew it was happening. My male teacher had a blanket, no using the bathroom during class rule, and I was too embarrassed to tell him what was going on. Junior high teachers, it is not okay to forbid a 13-year-old girl, or boy, for that matter, from using the bathroom. Farted the most rancid fart of death in 6th grade. The teacher somehow knew it was me and kicked me out of class, told me to go to the nurse and have someone pick me up because she was convinced I had to be sick to produce such a toxic stench. I thought it was cool I got to get out of school though, and my dad thought it was hilarious. Anytime I've finished peeing and get zipped up and a little more pee dribbles out and leaves a little wet pee spot on my pants. The worst. Once I peed before sex and the girl looked down to see the telltale dark spots of pee dribbles on my briefs. I was embarrassed. Panic attack. Nothing was wrong, just my heart did not want to be in my chest for some reason. I get panic attacks so often. Feels like my chest is being crushed. I swear one day I will die of a heart attack just assuming it's panic. They are the worst feeling. I peed myself in class. I was wearing a skirt and no tights. I was 17. It was my first year of college and the lecture lasted 4 hours. I held it as long as I possibly could, until at some point I was 100% certain I would pee myself as soon as I stood up. I couldn't excuse myself to the bathroom because I'd pee myself on the way in front of everybody. So I stayed. I waited until the other students left, but they didn't. Of course they had questions for the professor. Some lingered. I got out, made it out of the classroom miraculously. Then as soon as I was out the door I couldn't hold it anymore. I kneeled down on the floor, pretended to look for something in my bag. Someone even asked if I was okay, hoping against all hope that no one would notice the puddle at my feet. I kept pretending to look in my bag for 5 more minutes until everyone was gone, then walked to the nearest bathroom to dry myself as best I could. Then I went home, changed my underwear and dried my skirt and shoes with a hairdryer, because it would look suspicious if I came back with different clothes. No one ever mentioned it. To this day I wonder if some did see it and avoid talking about it to spare me the embarrassment, or if I somehow managed to hide it. At 17, you worry everyone will notice you changed clothes. At 19, you realize no one will give a frick. Went to pick up a pencil while sitting at my school desk, around 7th grade. Loud fart rips its way out with no warning. We were doing worksheets, so class was super quiet until that moment. By now I'm sure everyone else has forgotten, but I haven't. I was on my first date ever. We were at her house watching a movie and I was nervous as frick, so gas started accumulating in my gut and it started to hurt. I couldn't go to the bathroom because it was next to her room, so it would sound like a machine gun was being fired in there. I just tried to hold it in. Anyway, halfway into the movie my guts were like, okay, this is enough, and let a massive one rip. Girl acted like she was cool with it but never messaged me again. Kinda funny looking back. Should have gone to the restroom and separated your butt cheeks so no sound would be created. My period started during class, 3 days early, and it was very heavy and soaked my underwear and pants. Thankfully, my students didn't notice, but I had to leave work early. Night strikes again. I certainly wasn't expecting that, haha. Sorry about your day though. Not being able to burp or fart when I wanted to, but becoming grandmaster ass gas when most inappropriate. Grandmaster ass gas has me in tears. I once farted 3 times inside like 40 minutes in front of a girl in her home. They were not loud, but definitely audible. I apologized every single time and she told me not to worry about it, but I could see she was dumbfounded. I just couldn't help it. I don't know what was wrong with my ass muscles that day, but they played some serious matador defense on me. Haven't spoken with her since, and keep in mind we're still neighbors, so we see each other a few times a month. We just say hi and that's it. My ass muscle totally lost its controllability and nowadays it just let loose instantly no matter where I am. It's terrible. I can't even be anywhere around people without anxiety. My husband was peeing me off the other day and I tried to fart on him and crap myself. 2 of your comments have had me in creases today, big up yourself. When I inadvertently spit on the monitor when I'm explaining something to someone. Second date with my now wife. I was cooking dinner for her. Had a little gas pressure I thought I could release quietly. I was wrong. It wasn't horrible and didn't really smell, but still, letting one rip on our second date was not in the plans for the evening. I simply shrugged, looked at her and said, "Oh wow, it's why too early in this relationship for that. I'm so sorry." She laughed and shrugged it off. We've been together almost 15 years. In middle school, we always used to have to do jumping jacks. This always led to jumping jack farts. Was hanging out with my boyfriend at his parents' house and was in his room and we were just being silly, and in a moment of silence I farted for the first time in front of him super loud, and at that same moment his mom walked in and silently turned around and left, and he starts laughing at my super shocked face and the situation, and then I let out another slow drawn out loud fart. It was hilarious, but oh my gosh, it was embarrassing at the time. It only happened like maybe 6 weeks ago. You'll end up married. Embrace it. In all my years, a girl farting has only strengthened the relationship. I once went to school when I felt really sick. Within 10 minutes of me being at school my stomach started cramping and I informed the teacher I was going home. It's about a 10-minute drive with my bike. Every time I went over the littlest bump my stomach started hurting really bad. Not even 2 minutes of me biking to my house I stop and throw up. I throw up so bad that I start shitting my pants. A lot. Some of my friends start driving by but I don't think they notice me. I call my dad, who didn't have any way of bringing me home. He did however have a scooter. He comes along and I tell him I need to go home but not on the bike. He tells me there's no other way, so I get on the bike with crap still in my pants and we drive home together. This is the ultimate duo. Scooter dad and crap pants kid. Boner in gym class. At the water park when my period decided to make its appearance. Didn't realize until I stepped out of a wave pool and heard a little kid scream, "Mommy, there's red stuff in the water." Looked back to see a very obvious blood trail leading directly to me. Immediately hot-footed it to the showers, where I found a huge stain on my cover-up. 30 minutes later I casually walked out of the showers fully dressed, my swimsuit and cover-up washed out and stuffed in my towel. The wave pool had been shut down. The lifeguards shocking the water to get rid of the blood. A mass of children lingered near the edge. Men are complaining loudly. My mom cocked an eyebrow at me as I shuffled back to our chairs, but said nothing. I have since gotten better at managing my cycle. Not sure if it's just me, but if a girl is going to sit in my lap I will get a boner. I don't go around trying to get girls to do this, but I have had a few insist and then call me out for being a pervert, when I tried my best to persuade otherwise. At a movie night with some friends and girls in high school, I somehow coughed and sneezed at the same time and a huge snot rocket flew out of my mouth and onto the blanket. Never trust a fart. That is all I am saying. Very rarely I am walking and either one of my legs will just give out for like half a second. It's never enough to fall or anything, but it does make me look like I don't know how to walk or that I may be drunk. Do you know when you're having an important formal meeting and you're like internally farting? Very loud noises coming from your intestines? That. I am 30 years old. Last year, I crapped my pants. Full on. It was traumatic, shameful, and embarrassing. Be skeptical about any sounds your guts are making, people. Brain. Let's have a seizure. Bladder. Awesome. This is as good a time as any to pee yourself in front of everyone. You have been visited by Borky one canopying and the carpet. You will have 1000 forces be with you, but only if you comment fight well doggo. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Or don't. Either way, have a great day you magnificent people.